Hi everyone, my name's David, and this evening I'm running a game of Trophy. Trophy is a game of sort of dark fantasy horror by Jesse Ross. It is found in the Codex Dark 2, which is available. Well, it's available on the Drive Through RPG now. The Codex zine in general is available for subscribers to the Gauntlet, to the Gauntlet community Patreon. Do check it out; it's got some really cool stuff in it. As I said, the game we're running tonight is from there, and it's a game about sort of a group of adventurers, of strangers exploring a forest together, with the aim of finding a great treasure within. This evening we're running an incursion, which is sort of like a bit like a module, really, for Trophy that I am working on, called Throne of the Forest Queen. This kind of is inspired by fairy tales and sort of tales of the Fae and the like. This is currently under development. It's also my first time running Trophy, so apologies in advance for any mistakes I may make. I'll ask everyone in a moment to just introduce themselves, and then we'll go around, get introduced to characters, and then we'll start playing. We don't need a huge amount of backstory on these characters. We're going to sort of find out mostly about them during play. As I said, my name is David. I'm based in the UK. I use he/him pronouns, and as I said, I'm running Trophy for the first time now. I have had the chance to play it previously, and I'm hoping this will be a lot of fun. We'll go through an order of the character keepers. So, Asher, if you want to go next.
All right. Do I introduce my character too, or just myself?
You can just introduce yourself for the minute, and then we'll go back through and do characters in a sec.
All right. So I'm Asher, they them pronouns. I've played Trophy twice, I think now, and I'm supposed to write a module to go along with this. So we'll see how that
goes. Jim, if
Hey, all right, yeah, I am Jim Crocker, and I have written a Trophy incursion that is going to appear in a future issue of Codex that is called The Flocculent Cathedral, and we've done some playtesting on that. Had a lot of fun with that. Kevin, who is playing with us here this afternoon, this afternoon for me, this evening for you folks in GMT land, but Kevin actually played in The Flocculent Cathedral, so this is... and I played in a very early version of Trophy before it was Trophy, when it was still kind of a thing that Jesse was working on. So this is actually my first chance to play, kind of a finished incursion in the finished version of Trophy, and I'm really looking forward. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm in a New York City metro area. I use he/him pronouns. Folks who know me from outside the Gauntlet probably know me because I sell a whole lot of games at conventions all up and down the East Coast, and I have a website called jimlikesgames.com, where I have a whole lot of indie games that, from my designer friends and my partners at Indie Press Revolution. And I just started a podcast called Just Played, where I do quick 8 to 12 minute recaps along with some observations about game design on tabletop RPG sessions that I've played, and presumably this will be showing up on the show there once I'm done with that. And that's just look for Just Played on whatever podcatcher you use. I think it's on just about everything except maybe iTunes at this point. So look for that. Thanks.
Cool. I think Kevin next.
All right. My name is Kevin Marshall, pronouns he/him. I'm on our West Coast, California, Southern California area. So yes, afternoon for me. As we've mentioned before, I played Trophy a couple of times. Once with Jim. Once was the sort of the incursion that was with the first version of it. I forget what it was called. I had to do a sleep or something along those lines. But both were great experiences, so I sign up whenever I get a chance. I love to fail, I guess. All right, thanks.
Cool. Yeah, and yep, cool.
Hi, I'm Julian. I'm from Germany, and this is actually my first time playing Trophy, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, as I say, yeah, it's quite a nice, simple little game, really. Well, there's a lot of depth to it, but the actual dice mechanics and the like are fairly simple. So hopefully we'll be able to get you up to speed fairly quickly. As I said, I'll teach the game as we go through it. I did also forget to mention that obviously the Gauntlet has a website. It's at gauntlet-rpg.com, but I will stick links to that in the comment below. If anyone is watching this and doesn't know the Gauntlet already, which seems unlikely, but hey, stranger things. Before we sort of get into discussing characters and the like, I will I'll discuss sort of a couple of safety tools here. This is particularly important because, as sort of mentioned at the top of the this broadcast, Trophy is a horror game. We will be going into some quite potentially quite dark, even quite personal territory with some of the stuff in this, and so it's important that we can explore those sort of themes in a safe environment. We want to kind of flirt with discomfort, I suppose is the way to put it, but we don't actually want to upset anyone. We don't want anyone to have an unpleasant reaction to this game. So we're going to have a couple of safety tools in place to ensure that we have that sort of environment. The first and the most important one of all with playing in the Gauntlet is there's what's known as the Gauntlet inclusivity policy, which again you can find it on the website down below. But broadly speaking, what it boils down to is we accept that we're all here as friends to play a game and have a good time. We'll treat each other with respect. We'll be generous with one another, and we'll take care for each other's well-being. So treat people well. Basically, it's not a difficult thing, but unfortunately, it does need saying. So that's sort of the core of really what brings us here. We also use what's known as the open door policy. This just simply means that if at any point, either because you're uncomfortable with the game, maybe it's gone somewhere you're not like you're in a bad place mentally or whatever, or even just because like something comes up, you can just walk away at any time, whether that be to leave the game completely for the evening or just to take say I need 10 minutes to clear my head. That's perfectly fine. You're always free to do so. Just let us know, and you can leave, and that's not a problem at all. In the more sort of mechanistic tools that we have, we've had a discussion about like the content of this game and set down some lines and veils before we began broadcasting. I personally, my view on that is that stays off air entirely. What people choose to discuss there is their own business. We know where we're all at with that, so that's fine. Lines are essentially things we won't touch on at all in this game. Veils are things that might happen in the game, but we won't dwell on them. We'll just kind of fade to black, have them happen off screen, move to the new scene whilst acknowledging something happened. Anything like that, that's fine. And finally, our kind of safety valve, if you like, is the X card, which, if you're not familiar with it, basically you can sort of activate the X card by making an X with your hands, by saying I'd like to X card this, putting a note in the chat side saying you want to X card it. Any of those is fine, just something that will let us know so that we're aware to stop. And essentially, when the X card is played, we will just stop for a moment. I might ask you to clarify what it is you want to X card. So that's basically what I mean is there might be some content we just want to avoid and want to stop, and we don't want to go any further with that. So I might need to know what it is that you don't like if it isn't quite obvious from the context, but we won't ask you to justify why you want to avoid that. That's fine. If it's just something you don't want to see, we'll move on past it. We won't question it. We won't ask you to justify yourselves. The person who has been, if somebody sort of brings in some content that someone isn't happy with and they X card it, it's no judgment on the person who brought that in. You do not need to apologize. You should not try and rationalize why you brought that in. Just move on, and that's fine. I think that's everything safety tool wise. So I think with that said, we'll carry around with introducing people's characters. I should say the sort of the setting, the theme that we use for in Trophy, it's all very lightly penciled in. We will fill in details as we proceed, so you don't need to have like a monologue on your sort of character's upbringing and the like. We just need to really know why it is that they're here. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is the reason that you will all be venturing into this forest is because at the center of the forest, or at the center of this part of the forest, is the domain of the Forest Queen, a powerful fey creature who has the ability to grant boons to those who manage to make it through the forest to her realm. It's rumored that she can grant anything from fabulous wealth to health to love. Anything at all is within her power to grant. Of course, getting to her is not that easy, and that is the journey that you will all be embarking on today. So yeah, if I could ask you all to introduce your characters again, I'll go through in order of the character keeper from left to right. So if we can start off with you again, Asher.
All right, my character is Teoden, they, them pronouns. Their occupation is a woodcutter. I kind of wanted to make like a cabinet maker type person. So I imagine they're very familiar with the woods, cutting things down. They have a sleep ritual to send a person or animal into deep slumber. So I imagine that's used for like self-defense and things, because going in the forest alone is never easy, as we find. The background is lurid innocent. So maybe that's how they became a woodcutter. And then the drive is to seek a cure for your ailing mother in Muckling.
Excellent, thank you. And yeah, Jim, if
I am Sybil. My occupation is that I'm a witch right now, skilled in homes, paths, and rituals. I know 2 rituals. One is glamour, appear more charming and attractive, and the other is swarm, trade favors with a colony of vermin. And I am an enlivened mannequin. And if we take a look at my picture that I did there, I've got something that looks like a marionette that is a kind of relatively lifelike looking, but nonetheless slightly creepy marionette, because there is no lifelike marionette that's not also slightly creepy. And my drive is to retire in comfort in the Rose District of Amberay.
brilliant, thank you.
I think that brings up me. I'm playing the role of Vero, a goat herd. Vero is an older man. Maybe he's in his 50s or so, maybe even older. Okay. Oh yeah, goat herd means he's skilled in beasts, climbing, and alertness. And Vero is a defrocked priest who's skilled in omens, apparently. And his drive is to earn the respect of the governor of Fort Durin. Do you want us to describe our characters at this point? I wasn't really following that. That's he's an older man. He's dressed in newish appearing adventuring gear. In fact, brand spanking new. Doesn't look like it's been ever used. And there's probably some details about it that he's gotten wrong. Like maybe he's wearing an overcoat that he's got tucked into his pants, or there's some inappropriate things about the way he's fashioned for today's adventure.
All right, and I will be playing Eliseo, who is a spouse to be. I have chosen one ritual that's called Ward. It's about protection, which is also kind of maybe ties a little bit into my background, which is I'm a runaway Kingsguard. And my drive is to buy my brother's freedom from Barsul prison.
Nice. Thank you very much. So, you will have all been traveling through the forest. The forest is huge. It's we're talking sort of back to the old days of the when most of Europe was covered by a single forest, and there are thinner and denser areas in it. You've come from sort of the outskirts of the forest. It's been gloomy and drizzly, and it's that sort of weather where it's not even so much raining as there's just water in the air, and because it's cold, and the water sort of bites at your face as it lands on there. But even as cold as it is, you're still sweating under your clothes. There's no way of staying dry. It's miserable weather. You've been traveling probably for a couple of days now. Whether you started out journeying together or just met each other on the road, you are all traveling in concert now. So tell me, Vero, did you're obviously you've come prepared, if newly prepared for this adventure. Do you think you hired anyone here to come with you, or do you think you persuaded them to join you in this travel?
Persuaded, perhaps, not hired. Part of it is the motivation here is that Vero is penniless now, and he's hoping that getting a favor for the governor is going to set him up. But he started his life on a certain path, and that has been changed abruptly recently, and he's struggling to cope. But yeah, maybe back in the town or the fort that we're coming from, there were some other people that he caught wind of their interest in something more as well, and persuaded them to join him.
Yeah, excellent. So Karen.
Yeah, I was going to say. In fact, you're sort of gearing towards the other players. If Eliseo has some skills or at least had been a guard, that might be the sort of person that Vero would see as a big asset to have on our group. So maybe he would have tried to coax him into coming along and let him know what the forest holds.
Yeah, that sounds good. Julian, do you think that Eliseo, do you think that he would have was he already planning on coming out to so I've lost my camera for a second. I'll fiddle with that in a sec. But yeah, do you think that Eliseo was already planning on coming out to the to search for the Forest Queen, or did Vero's tales inspire him?
Maybe a bit of both. I think the fact that my dear brother is still imprisoned, and I need to buy his freedom is certainly could certainly be a reason why I why I try to. Maybe I've heard of the court or whatever, and maybe Eliseo believes that that there's enough money or clout or whatever to be gained there that I could use that to free my brother.
Certainly there is. So, Theodan, do you think you met these travelers at the town they were coming from, or did they meet you on the road?
We probably met on the road because I don't think I live in the town proper anyway, right? So maybe while they were leaving, we ran into each other or something, or.
Yeah, that sounds good. And finally, Sybil, how did you come to be traveling with these this small group of people venturing into the forest?
Oh, I think I probably live somewhere near the edge of the forest. Whatever it was that gave my my formerly lifeless wooden body an animating force. I think I find it easier to move my hexes that I learned from whatever puppet maker. They work a little better. And I think I'm the last addition to the group. I've kind of lived around the fringes of the forest, but always been too afraid to go into it on my own. But when I see that these others are kind of together and they're going to go in, I fell in with them to join in and see if I could help them and they could help me.
Excellent. As I say, you've been traveling for a couple of days now through miserable weather. When you come into a clearing, and as you enter the clearing, the sky above, the clouds sort of part, and the sun beats down. It's the first sort of respite you've had, as I said, from the constant drizzle in the last couple of days. You're still damp and muddy, but for a time at least, the sun will warm you. And as you enter this clearing, you'll be greeted by the bleating of goats. You will notice several goats, a dozen or so maybe, milling around, feeding on the lush grass of this clearing. But above the sound of the goats, you will hear the sound of a young boy sobbing, and indeed, sat on a rock in the center of the clearing is a young goat herd. In fact, he's young. He's got kind of tousled blonde hair, and he's as I said, sobbing to himself on this rock.
Certainly seems like my moment to shine here. Vero's going to approach the boy and ask him what's the problem.
Oh, sir, it's awful. So it is. My goats, 3 of them have wandered off into the forest, and they have not returned when I called for them. I must return, sir, or my stepfather will beat me. But there are things, sir, they say, in the deep forest that, and I fear for my own life if I were to follow them in.
Oh, what? I'm sorry. I didn't catch your name, boy. I'm Vero,
Oh.
and I introduced myself and explained that. Well, I am a bit of a goat herder myself, and I'm willing to bet I can get those goats back to you. So you shouldn't have to worry about this your father at all.
Thank you, sir. If you could, I would be mightily grateful to you. My name is Galen, sir. And yeah, you will certainly have my gratitude if you are able to return them to me.
So Vero, I'm assuming he's got like a large staff. That's probably the one thing he's got that doesn't look out of place with him. And
yeah.
Sort of I'm not sure. I have no goat herding experience. I'll make some sort of clicking sounds and tap the staff and hopefully try to gather up the goats that are nearby and see if that helps at all.
Yes, certainly. Yeah, the goats in the immediate vicinity will all kind of obey you, and they will kind of gather around the boy. These ones do seem to have been tethered now, but they'll kind of come in from the length of the tether around and gather around you. But yes, there is you wait a moment or two, and these three missing goats do not make an appearance.
Well, since I'll sort of turn to the rest of the group. Well, since we are heading in this direction, I'm assuming no one is opposed to helping this boy out if we should happen to stumble upon these goats in our travels. Am I right?
Unless the forest queen has claimed them for her own. We wouldn't want to anger her by taking them from her.
Well, you do raise a good point. That could be the case, but I'm gathering that these have recently left the poor boy and probably haven't gotten very far in. So I somehow doubt that that's the case. But yes, that you do raise a point. There could be a small stumbling block on us fetching these goats for you.
Well, I also doubt that that this is the case, because my courtly experience tells me that a queen wouldn't be interested in goats.
Yes, it's likely that she has a queen would have refined tastes and not interested in these. Good point.
I'm more worried about getting these back to the boys there. I guess I'll go to look at Galen. Like, is there somewhere you live that we can take these goats if we find them?
It's quite all right. I will wait. I will wait here until your return. I do not need to be back. I do not need to be back at my back home until the evening. But so I can wait here until your return.
Well, we don't know how long that will be. It might be a few days, even.
I wouldn't have thought they would have got so far in. It has only been since earlier today that they have been missing.
Well, young Galen, if we do stumble upon these goats, you have my word that I will take it upon myself to bring them back to you.
Thank you, sir. It is most kind of you.
I think I'll give him like a little wooden puzzle to pass the time.
Nice.
Vero, did you ever lose your own goats?
Well, sometimes it's I functioned as a goat herd for many years, and when I first started out, before I developed my goat herding skills, that would occasionally happen, but it hasn't happened in quite some time. I have a way about me with the goats.
Excellent. Yeah, and you can set off further into the forest. As I say, it's the weather has improved a lot now. It's a lot brighter. And there's a bit of a freshness in the air as well. It's partly that sort of, the smell you get after the rain, but also just whereas before you were sort of trudging through mud and leaf mold, and it's just a lot. It feels a lot clearer, a lot cleaner here now, and there are some sort of winding deer paths through the woods as you begin your journey. So, who is taking the lead in this search for the goats?
I can tell the difference between the feet of the goats and the feet of the other forest animals.
Yep, certainly. So we will have a role here. And to explain for especially for Julian, the way that roles are handled. I don't know if you know, at the top of the character keeper, there's a link there to the roll for your party room that I've got set up. So I can open that up and we can roll the dice in there. So we have every time the dice are rolled, the options that you have, if you have an appropriate skill, then you can roll a single white dice, a single white d6. And you can, of course, justify why you think a particular skill you have it would come in handy for the task you're attempting. What we'll then do, or we will then go around, and the rest of the player, you will state what it is that you want to achieve by making this roll. We will then go around the rest of the both myself and the rest of the players, and each person will suggest something bad they think might happen if this roll were to fail. You don't have to you don't have to put huge amounts of thought into this, but come up with something cool and something nasty that you think might happen if this roll fails. We will then have the potential of offering a devil's bargain. What this is basically something unfortunate or a complication that will happen regardless of the outcome of the roll. That's the thing to bear in mind with devil's bargains. They will always happen if one is accepted. If you accept a devil's bargain, you will roll an additional white d6. That's the most number of white d6 you can ever end up rolling. You can also choose to risk your body or mind in pursuit of the task you're doing. If you do so, you add a single purple d6 in the dice we're using to the roll. If you are using a ritual, if you have a ritual that is appropriate to the task you're undertaking, you will always add a purple d6. You do not have a choice in the matter. You are drawing on the power of the forest itself, and it can have its effect on you. What we're looking for on that dice roll is for the highest dice of any color, and just what number is on it. If the highest dice is the purple dice, then there will be other things happening. We'll touch that when it comes up. If not, if it's a white dice, and then if you roll a 6, the thing happens and it's perfectly fine. You achieve what you set out to achieve. On a 4 to 5, you will achieve what you set out to do, but there will be a complication or something unusual will happen as a result. And finally, on a 1 to 3, it will go wrong, and I will tell you how it goes wrong. The other option you have when rolling the dice is once you've rolled your dice, you can add an additional purple dice to that pool of dice and re-roll them all. And you can, if you want to, do that again and again. The only restriction on that is you cannot re-roll the dice if your highest dice is purple. But otherwise, you can keep doing it, until such time as that is the case. So that said, I am aware we have just hit. We're about 5 past 10 past now. So I'm going to say if we take a 5-minute break here, and then we will come back. We will have that first test. We'll see how it goes, and we'll carry on from there. While we're waiting for the others to get back, Julian, I'll just mention. So on your character sheet, you'll notice you have a ruin score. So for learning a ritual, your ruin score will have gone up to 2. Ruin basically it represents how much of a hold the forest has over you. If your ruin ever hits 6, you will be lost to the forest. So what increases your ruin is sometimes you'll be called upon to make a ruin roll. What this is just a single roll of a single die. If you roll, I always have to forget this, whether it's equal to or just above. Yeah, so if you roll higher than your current ruin, then you add 1 to your current ruin score. When one of the ways a ruin roll happens is, as I said, when you make a skill check, if the purple dice is either the highest or the joint highest number in that roll, that counts as a ruin roll of the number you rolled. So if you rolled your dice and you rolled a purple 6 in there, that would count as a 6 for the purposes of your ruin. If other things can cause you to make a ruin roll. Basically, when you witness something disturbing or something strange happens to you, you also have to make a ruin roll by just rolling a single dice, a single purple dice specifically. So yeah, that's just so you're sort of aware of that. I'll bring it. I'll mention it the first time it actually comes up in play, but just so you're aware now.
Thanks. Great.
And obviously, feel free to volunteer to make a ruin roll if you think something would affect your character. Cool. So now everyone's back. Yeah, we will go for Sybil's attempt to track these goats. I'm going to presume here that Sybil is going to call on her knowledge of paths for this role.
Yes, yeah, I know about paths. I know the ways things move through, and especially through these woods that I live on the edge of. So,
Excellent.
yeah. So I got a single white die for this.
Yep.
I'm not particularly interested in risking my body or spirit to find these goats. And
That's fair.
I'm not particularly interested in a devil's bargain to try and find these goats. So I'm going to start just by rolling a single white die and see where we end up.
Yep, certainly. So what do you want to happen if you succeed at this roll?
I would like to find the goats before something else has found them.
That's perfect. So now I will again, for the moment, I'll go in order of the character keeper again. Everyone can suggest one thing they think might happen if this roll fails. You can be as harsh as you want to with this. This is basically to get some consensus, but of the sort of thing we want to see. So, Teodan, what do you think will happen if this roll fails?
I mean, the obvious one is that she gets separated.
Yep, that's good, and obvious calls are often good ones. Cool. So, Vero, what do you think will happen if this roll fails?
Well, looking down at the ground, it looks like there's a lot of uneven ground, a lot of roots and things that one could trip on. I think a failed roll may indicate an ankle injury, a sprained ankle of some sort.
Yeah. And finally, Julian, as well, Elisio, what do you think will happen if Sybil fails this roll?
I think he might find something or traces of something that looks like a goat but isn't.
Nice. Okay. And I think these are all some quite interesting ones. Yeah, I think perhaps if this roll fails, then something else might find Sybil. So, Sybil, roll your a single white d6, and we'll see how this goes.
That's a 3, so I'm going to add a black die and reroll.
Certainly.
Oh, there's a 6 on my dark die.
Excellent. So you will absolutely succeed. You will find the goats, and we will deal with that in a sec. Now, as I was just mentioning to Julian, when you roll a roll and the purple dice is the highest in it, that counts as being a ruin roll. What a ruin roll is basically is, it's, again, as I mentioned just now, if you roll above your current ruin, you increase your ruin by 1, as this marks the forest beginning to gain more hold over you, which as this is a 6 will obviously result in that happening in this case. So
should I go ahead and make that roll?
Oh no, I think you just use the result that you rolled. So it's so that is a 6 there. I believe. Sorry, just double check that.
I think that triggers a roll, and then I make a roll and see whether it's higher than my current ruin.
No, the risk roll counts as a ruin roll, and then you can also do ruin rolls separate.
Let's see. So just reading through the bit here. Bear in mind with 1 sec.
Yeah, so it says if you include a dark die and it rolled equal to or higher than the highest light die, it counts as a ruin roll as described under ruin roll. So you don't have to make a separate roll.
Which it counts. Oh, I read that to mean that means you make a ruin roll.
Yeah, it looks like that is the roll. I just read over it too.
Yeah, it's not. I must admit, it's not 100% clear, but yeah, I think that's how I'll.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so
that completely changes the pacing of the game. All right.
Yeah, it does. It does make it quite intense.
That's much harsher than how I played it before. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, where was I? So you find, you're searching through these tracks on the path. There are lots of deer. In fact, no, it's mostly deer tracks around here. But you do see within them some goat tracks as well. And you begin to follow these tracks, and you pick them out really well. You're used to being in these forests. They're not. This is a little deeper than you've been before, but still there's that sense of familiarity around it. And the more you focus on following these trails, you said you're doing this perfectly. You're finding these trails, but the more you focus on it, the more your vision narrows down. All sort of external things are completely, your sort of peripheral vision's not really picking up much. You're focused straight ahead, and as you're getting closer, you can smell the goats on the air. You can smell sort of their scent, and that's drawing you towards them, and you feel almost just for a moment, you want to just chase them down and tear into them with your teeth. So, yeah, you will probably be a bit ahead of the rest of the party at this point, but they will soon follow you there, and you will see there is indeed a trio of goats that are gathered around, munching on some particularly lush-looking grass. In fact, there's a circle of mushrooms around this patch of grass. The goats are stood inside. The grass in there looks really, really green and lush. There's almost like a scent like honey in the air. But as you come across these goats, the rest of you come into the clearing as well. You'll also notice an old woman in this clearing. She is also looking kind of despondent, and she's sort of sat on a stump. It's been cleared, and she looks up as she sees you and says, What brings you into the forest? It's a dangerous place, and you should not be here.
Is she asking me?
She's sort of addressing the you as in general, as you've all entered the forest clearing.
We've come looking for these goats.
I wondered where they come from. There's
a boy. He wants them back.
Well, you should count yourself lucky they are still here. There are vicious brigands on the loose in the forest. I was carrying my honey to market, and I was set upon by a band of these ruffians, and they stole my the sack with my pots of honey in it, and ran off into the forest.
If we don't belong here, why do you belong here?
Oh, I live just a little way down the roads, and I've always called this place my home, but I say it has become dangerous.
When she says a little bit down the road, does she motion where we came from or the direction we're heading?
Sort of. I mean, yeah, sort of just one of these other little paths that leads off of this clearing. It probably does sort of head back again towards more back towards the edge of the. No, sorry, the one she points to as to where she's been coming from is a little deeper into the forest, but kind of more skirting around the edge rather than going like right into the very heart.
I guess I'll say I don't live too far from here either, and I'll point like back the way we came.
Yeah. Excellent.
Well, I think we should probably get these goats back to young Galen, so we can be on with our trip.
Of course. Well, as I say, watch out for yourselves. These are dangerous times.
Is there anything we should watch out for in particular?
As I say, these brigands, ruffians.
Brigands.
Mm.
How do you know that's not us?
Oh, well, they had big black masks on, they did. And
That's good to know.
terrible cudgels.
Hope this boy's okay with brigands running around. I'll start to walk back.
Yeah, no, exactly. If you start heading back, you can you can return these goats to Galen. He will look up as he hears you coming. The sort of goats have bells on that chime, or well, more clank as they as you lead them back. He will look up and will say, "Oh, thank you for bringing back the goats. That's it's most kind of you. I don't know what I would have done if you had not been able to return them to me. There is little I can offer you, but I can grant you a small reward." And he will kind of rifle through a knapsack, and he will pull out a well-worn set of pan pipes that he will hold out. Who is going to take them?
No one appears to be chomping at the bit. It would seem rude. It seemed it would be rude to turn down his gift. So I'll kneel down next to the boy and accept his gift. And in exchange, I'll also offer some advice. I'll give him some little pointers on goat herding, and how point out that the goats like to stay together. They prefer that, actually. So usually when they get separated, wasn't their intention. So you need to keep them away from the forest edge and things where they may inadvertently become lost like this.
Well, thank you, sir. That's most kind of you. And he'll rummage again, and he'll say, "Please," and he'll hold out it's a comb made of carved goat horn. That he'll hold out. He specifically won't hold this out to sorry, I'm losing names, to Vero, but who is going to accept this?
Oh, I would take the comb.
Excellent. He'll say, "Thank you. It's been most kind. I'm sorry, I do not have everything for all of you, but he'll reach into the knapsack again and pull out a single apple. It's your sort of classic green apple with just a little bit of red blush to it. Looks nice and juicy and ripe. He'll say, does any of you want this as well?"
Sounds good to me. Can always use an apple when I'm working.
And he'll say, "Well, thank you all of you. It's been most kind. I will get back to my stepfather, and I shall not venture this far into the forest again." And he'll sort of begin to gather up his herd and head towards the edge of the forest. Oh, he says, are you searching for the Forest Queen?
I suppose we are.
I thought you might be. I've heard stories about her and the fantastic powers that she has, but I don't know. It seems I've heard it's a dangerous place, and he's going to kind of head back into the clearing, and he's sort of there's some sort of overgrown trees and but he goes to a part of the trees, and pulls apart a couple of branches, and you can see there's another one of these little just goat trails leading off through the trees. And he says, I've heard that this path is a shortcut that can lead deeper into the forest towards the Queen's Wheel, the place where she dwells. I've never ventured there myself, for, as I say, it is said to be a dangerous journey full of many trials and tribulations, and well, I'm but a humble goat herd. But perhaps if you do seek her, then you could take this path, and it might lead you there.
We've also heard of some ruffians in the area, so I hope you take care of yourself too.
Oh, I will be sure to do so. That's most terrible.
So shall we take his shortcut?
Are we just walking into a tree? Is that what's going on?
There's a path, I believe.
Or is
that's right. It was kind of hidden by some overhanging branches.
Okay.
And stuff, but there is just a path sort of behind them.
So it's not like a like crazy fairy gate or anything. It's just some brush was occluding the entrance, and he kind of pulled it aside.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm curious about these items we got. Did you tell us anything about them, or can we tell if they're magic? Does anyone have skill to do that? Civil skilled in magic, right?
I will definitely try out the comb, just see what happens. But
you pull it. Do you have or does Elysia have long hair or short? Sorry, I've just seen the picture there. Oh dear, that's portentous. So you kind of got you can kind of pull it through, and it's kind of rough. It's a quite a wide toothed comb. As I say, it's been carved from goat horn, so it's not the most delicate of items, but it seems to comb quite well. You don't notice anything strange taking place.
I'm afraid I'll bite into this apple and fall asleep.
Vero's just going to tuck the little flute into his pocket. He thinks it's just merely a little trinket. It can't possibly be of use.
Certainly. So you can, as I say, you can proceed up this path, and it winds through trees. The going is quite easy. It's a slight incline up to it, but you're traveling for a while. And you come out of the you're sort of expecting, you can see it's getting lighter up ahead. It looks like a clearing. But as you get out, it's not a clearing. You've actually come into, well, it kind of looks like an like a sort of an alpine meadow, essentially, kind of sloping upwards quite steeply. You can see obviously that the forest is encircling this area of meadow, but it seems to be leading upwards. There is a sort of edelweiss, spattered throughout it. There's quite a fast flowing river coming down as well that flows into another part of the forest, going down past you. But yes, you can proceed onwards. So as you're crossing this meadow, and you see, I said there's wildflowers and stuff throughout. Elisio, what do the flowers remind you of?
I guess they remind me of the flowers in the hair of my soon-to-be bride that I'm supposed to marry, but I guess only if I get my brother out of prison first.
Yeah, and they as you look at them, they are, as I said, they remind you of the of the flowers that as I said your bride wears, and well, your fiance, I suppose, wears in her hair. But the flowers here are really beautiful. The colors are more vibrant. The petals are perfectly shaped. You've never seen such perfect flowers as these before. They make kind of the flowers that she wears seem a little tawdry, really. But you can pick some if you want. Not required to. But whether or not they'd make the journey back, you don't know. But
I think Elisio is going to kneel down, hesitate for a moment, and then pick one flower.
Perfect. Yeah. As I say, it's as you pick it, it's got a just a delicate smell. It's not strong. It smells like just sort of a wildflower, but it's just for a moment, your again, your memory just goes back to the scent of the flowers in her hair as you tuck it away. As I say, this meadow seems to be climbing quite steeply, and as you carry on, it's getting steeper, and you start to see rocks breaking through the soil as you're clearly sort of coming out of these foothills, as it were, into actually kind of the terrain's actually getting kind of mountainous now. As I say, there's a big river flowing down through the stones, through the rocks. It's sort of rapids. It's raging and fast flowing. But you're making quite good, even though the ground is steep. It's easier to see where you are and easier to keep going than it is through the dense woods. Though soon you will get to the point, based on your reckoning, you do know you need to essentially keep proceeding along this path you're following. But there is you reach, as I say, the edge of this river, and it's clear there was once a rope bridge here, but it has been the ropes seem to have rotted away, and there is a, as I say, there's a fast flowing torrent of water ahead of you. You might be able to see if there's a crossing further up, but you don't know how far you have to travel to do so. What do you want to do?
Is there a tree that Tiodan can fell?
Yeah, there's certainly trees. You may have to walk a little bit to get to one, but not far. You're still the area is still forested. It's just you're sort of walking through an more open bit of it. You could certainly fell a tree. You could certainly fell a tree if you wanted to ford this this river.
Use your
Right,
axe.
let's do it. Yeah. So this is a roll.
Excellent. Yeah. So if you're going to head and find a tree, you obviously have a whole host of skills that are applicable to this this particular task. So you will definitely be rolling at 1 white dice. We will go around. So we'll just make this one roll for being you felling a tree and building a bridge, because I don't see it being that interesting to separate those two tasks.
Yeah, I think the construction is more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. What do you want to achieve if you succeed at this roll?
Building a bridge across the river. Or constructing
Yeah,
a
that's
bridge.
nice and simple. Excellent. So I'll actually just go through in order of the of my screen. So yes, Sybil, what do you think will happen if this roll fails?
He will anger whatever lives in that tree.
Yeah, that certainly seems like a possibility. Vero, what do you think will happen if this roll fails?
I think a failed roll indicates that he makes the bridge, or that they make the bridge, but that it is not safe, and it winds up being actually a trap for us.
Oh yeah, that's quite harsh. Okay, so finally, Alicio, what do you think will happen if this roll fails?
I think Theoden doesn't have the right to fell this particular tree, and there's going to be some form of punishment maybe for it.
Certainly. So I actually, and I think that one of the things that might happen is, I suppose, kind of not dissimilar to Sybil, but I think that in felling this tree, you might actually alert a bear that has been prowling in the area, and it will attack. So yeah, that's I'm going to offer, because I quite liked that one. I'm going to offer you a devil's bargain, which is to say that if you do go ahead and do this, you will anger the inhabitant of the tree that you fell. So you're not required to take the devil's bargain. You can leave it on the table, and that's fine. We won't do it. If you take it, you get to roll an additional white d6 on your check. But regardless of the outcome of the roll, you will have angered some denizen of this tree.
That sounds interesting. I'll take that.
Cool.
They
Cool.
don't have enough trouble yet.
Exactly. Yeah, so you get to roll with 2 white dice. You can, if you wish, choose to risk your mind or body on this to add a purple dice, but you are not required to do so.
All right, let's roll and see what happens. A 2 and a 5. I think 5's pretty good.
Yep. Okay. Yes. So, I think no, that's how we will. That's how we'll deal with that. So yeah, you will cut this tree down. It's a good find. It's probably a sort of a pine of some variety. You fell it, and obviously you're not gonna go for a full craftsman's job on this, but you whittle down some of the bark off of it to give it a good solid base, and make it easier for people to climb across. You probably tactically cut down some of the branches so that there's a smooth path down the middle, but some of the ones remaining on the side that you can use as sort of makeshift handrails as you're crossing. And you get the between probably the 4 of you, you get you manage to move this shaped log essentially and flip it down over the bridge. And obviously, as is traditional for craftsmen in this sort of situation, Teodan volunteers to be the first to cross the bridge. And as Teodan is halfway across, a figure will rise out of the wood. They appear female-ish, long-limbed, a shock of dark green hair. They appear to be naked, but at the same time their skin it looks like finely grained wood, almost polished. Why have you destroyed my tree? Why did you do such a thing to me?
There's like a booming voice. How is she talking to us? How are they talking?
It's her voice is kind of not exactly guttural, but it's kind of raspy and dry. She probably does. There probably is anger in her voice, though it's kind of difficult to tell. She doesn't sound entirely human, as you'd be probably unsurprised to learn. But yeah,
We go to visit the Forest Queen, and we needed to cross the river.
And you had to destroy my home, my ward, my mother, my daughter to do so, did you?
It is not destroyed. And I like reach down and I literally just knock on it. It's right here. I look confused that she thinks it's destroyed.
It has been separated from my roots. It has been mutilated. Perhaps I should do the same to you and see how you like it. She's going to turn back to Theoden at that point and her fingers are long and thin, and she doesn't have nails exactly, but the ends of her fingers come into sharp points like splinters. They look sharp.
I'm gonna run across this bridge. Get out of here.
Okay, certainly. So I think if you're going to just try and run past her, we will have a roll for that. Do you think you have an applicable skill here?
Well, I am on the bridge already. No one else is.
Okay. So yeah, if you don't think you have an applicable skill, you won't have any white dice in this, unless we'll get into it in a sec. Obviously, if you accept a devil's bargain, then you'll get one white dice for that. You are absolutely risking your body and possibly mind in this action, so you will be rolling with one purple dice.
Well, I do have a ritual that could work. Send the person or animal into a deep slumber. So
that's also an option if you want to try doing that.
If I'm gonna roll a purple dice anyway, I might as well use a ritual.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to use a ritual, as you say, you will be rolling one purple dice for that. Again, if you have an applicable skill, then you'd add that. But again, you probably don't think for this particular one. So presumably, again, we're going to go on if you succeed at this, you presumably want the dryad to be put into a slumber, so that people can get past and away before she awakens. So I'll go around again. I'll go around in the other order this time. Eliseo, what do you think will happen if this roll fails?
I think the dryad will turn the ritual or the power of the ritual against Theoden.
Yep, that sounds very possible. Vero, what do you think will happen if this roll fails?
At a similar idea, it's at a person. What was it? Person. Let's see. Person or an animal. So it may perhaps this thing is not really a person or an animal, in which case it would affect someone else. So perhaps someone else gets put to sleep instead.
Yeah, excellent. And Sybil.
Oh, I think if it doesn't work properly, and then it's gonna wake other things up.
Yep, that's possible. We'll call people to. I think I'm going to go for the really obvious one here. If the ritual does not work, then the time it takes for Teardown to sort of go through the motions of the ritual, the dryad will simply lash out and claw his face with its vicious splinter claws.
Can I use my skill in weapons to like shoot a dart at her in order to do the ritual? That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, go on. I think that's fair. Yeah, I can see you having sort of tranquilizer darts. Essentially, I think that's a
Magic
fair.
tranquilizer darts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's fair. So I think. I think the devil's bargain I'm going to offer. Again, I said you're not bound to. You're not bound to accept this. Is you will, regardless of what happens, in your scramble over the bridge, you will lose your footing and fall into the river. As I say, you do not have to take that if you don't. No, that's fine. That's fine. So yeah, you'll be rolling with 1 white and 1 purple.
2 6s.
2 6s. Well,
That would be good.
on the plus side, that is a success. How does it look? What do you actually do as part of this ritual? How do we see that taking place?
I mean, I think the important thing is that I did the ritual before we even started, right? So I have these darts that I can just throw. So I just like throw this dart at her and run across the bridge so I can get away.
Yeah. And yeah, this dart thuds into her, and it does sound like throwing a dart into a dartboard. And for a moment, there's a look of confusion and anger passes over her face. And as her face is odd, it's not. There's a human face in there, but it's not the most expressive. But then you just see almost like the features just sort of mold back into the wood again, and she just sinks back down into the log as you run over the bridge. However, you did roll your highest dice. Your joint highest dice was a purple dice, so that counts as a ruin roll. So your ruin will go up by 1, and yeah. You escape across the bridge, and it's fine. But as you kind of, once you had a moment to sort of calm down and catch your breath back, and the others will follow over the bridge, I presume. Yeah, speak out if you're not going to, but your clothes feel heavy and really, really itchy. I don't know what sort of clothing Teardown wears normally.
I think it's like a kimono.
Yep, sure. Yep. So it's like that. And yeah, normally it's like sort of quite light cotton kimono, and it's comfortable and it's easy to get around in. But it's rubbing against your skin like it was like really itchy wool, or even like harsher than that. It just scratches and it feels incredibly uncomfortable against your skin. And yes, you will make it across the bridge. There's a path continues winding up, and as I said, you're actually in quite mountainous terrain now, and there's even some sort of snow gathering around as you proceed forwards. and you will continue on a little, and it begins to get cooler, and the sun begins to set, and you look back down, and it's kind of there's some almost that like light cloud now around you, mist cloud that's sort of obscuring your view back over it a bit, but you see like the sun go down. There's glorious reds and golds and pinks all around you as night begins to fall, and you come across a cave. Yes, and we will take a break there for 5 minutes. As I say, when we get back, we will say you are probably, unless you have a particular burning desire not to, you'll be settling into the cave for the night. And yeah, we'll take 5 minutes there. Apologies, that was a slightly longer break than I anticipated. I managed to dump tea down myself, so had to change my shirt. Yeah. I'll just wait for cool. Right. Yes. So, pardon. Yeah. So you'll manage to find shelter for the evening, should you so wish. So, do you think that you will light a fire, or will you try and make it through the night without? It's cold, but you're quite sheltered in this cave if you choose to stay in it.
Elisio would certainly want a fire since it's so cold up here.
Fair,
Yes.
fair.
I'm definitely pro fire. Not a fan of the cold.
Yeah, yeah. You can certainly scavenge enough firewood to get a fire going. Sybil, do you sit near the fire, or do you prefer to keep away from it?
Oh, absolutely. I sit near the fire. Once they get it
Yep.
going, I reach into the picnic basket that I've been carrying along tucked under my arm, and I pull it open, and I've got a little teapot in there, and I put the teapot in the fire, and I put some little tea bags in, and I have teacups for the four of us. And I make us tea, and I probably have some scones wrapped up in there or something like that. Because
Excellent.
I'm skilled at homes, which I read to mean kind of I bring hospitality with me when I go to places in an effort to try and normalize it as much as I can. The fact that we are in this dark, scary place doesn't mean that we can't be civilized for a few moments.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. So I think that's cool. So yeah, you can all share in this meal together.
I guess I'll try biting into this apple.
Excellent. That's perfect. Would you like to roll me a purple die, please?
For biting into an apple?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, great.
This
Okay.
is just a ruin roll, so it's all that matters
fine.
is the number.
4.
Okay. Yeah. You bite into this apple. You will gain a point of ruin, I believe. But the apple is absolutely delicious. You have never tasted an apple this fresh and juicy, and it's like the sort of all your like childhood memories of eating apples. It's like all of those condensed into a single bite. And you can, it's nice. It doesn't appear to have any ill effect on you. However, you eat this apple, and I said it's gorgeous. And then when Sybil passes you a cup of tea and a scone, as you bite into the scone, it tastes bitter and dry and dusty. It's horrible. You've not. It tastes awful, and the tea that she makes, it smells. It's got that kind of stagnant smell to it. Yeah, it smells awful. For everyone else, the scones seem perfectly delightful, and it's a rather nice cup of tea.
Well, I guess I should share this apple then, since nothing else seems very good. So I guess I'll cut it up with the axe and offer it to my fellows if they want to have an apple with their scone and tea.
Yep, certainly. Do people accept this apple that's been given to them?
Well, I think so. I think it would be rude not to. I mean, there's no reason.
Certainly.
We don't know what effect that had on her, or had on him. So, yes, absolutely. Is that another dark roll?
That will be another ruin roll. Yep, certainly. Yeah, basically, if anyone eating the apple will have to make a ruin roll.
Whoops, I'm not sure if that worked. Submit, right?
You can just click on one of the existing ones and then click reroll selected, and that should.
I see.
Yeah.
Just clicking the wrong one. Here we go. That was a 1.
Yep. So you're fine. I mean, this apple is delicious. It really is. It really is very, very good. But the scones are nice too. They're perfectly fine.
This adventuring is great. The food's awesome. The company's wonderful. It's a great time.
And I grin.
Are the other two of you eating the apple or not?
So here's the secret, since it seems like people are actually paying attention.
Yeah.
Which is that I only pour a tiny little bit of tea into the bottom of my own cup, and I raise it to my lips and pantomime drinking it.
Yeah.
And I do that thing with my scone where I crumble little bits off of it and kind of bring it up to my lips. But then I kind of crumble it in my fingers and let the crumbs sort of fall to the ground.
Cool.
So it looks like I can't actually eat, but this going through the motions of it is important to me.
Of course. That's cool. Alicio.
So actually, I should ask you: does pantomiming bring a slice of the apple kind of up to my lips and then kind of carefully palming it and dropping it on the ground? Does that have any effect? Or
no, it does not.
All right.
Yeah.
And I smile like it's delightful.
Yep. Alicio, do you eat some of this apple?
Yes, I will.
Excellent.
Eat the apple.
So yes, again, you can make a ruin roll. So just a single purple d6.
Oh, I rolled a 6. That's probably bad, right?
It is indeed. So yes, your ruin will increase by 1. And yeah, it's much the same. The apple is absolutely gorgeous. It's amazing. It's crunchy. It's juicy. It smells great. It tastes amazing. But after that, it said biting into the scone is like biting into ash or a block of charcoal. And the tea tastes bitter and salty and brackish, and it's impossible to eat it. It's disgusting.
Well, we certainly, on our way back, we should ask this boy where he got this apple. This is wonderful.
Well, he did give you things too. Maybe they're just as wonderful. I like pantomime, playing a flute.
Yeah, as we begin settling down after the meal, I'll go ahead and pick the pan flute up and just sort of monkey around with it a little bit as we're tucking into bed.
Yeah, certainly. It seems you're not sure it's in tune entirely. It's quite old, quite well worn. A couple of the reeds or the whatever you call them might be slightly cracked, but you are able to coax a vague tune out of it. And it seems perfectly normal. Certainly at the minute it doesn't seem to be having any unexpected effects other than it's being a slightly out of tune set of panpipes. So yes, you will rest. And in the morning, you'll discover it was kind of getting the time when you settle down from that, you're already losing visibility, sort of thing. But as you come out of the cave in the morning and look down, and the early morning mist is starting to clear a little, the bright sun is burning in the sky again. And even though obviously you're in the mountains, it's quite cold, that you can still feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. You actually see that you must have been like pretty much at the well, if not the summit of the mountain, at least the crest of this particular path that you're following. And the path leads down towards forest again, as it drops back into the tree line. You walk through and you'll head into the forest, and again it's big tall trees, light pouring in through them, sort of sun motes in the air. As you're walking through, as you're approaching, you spot just a little way off. There is a stag, quite a large stag, quite impressive set of antlers. It appears to be grazing on some grass at the in a not quite a full clearing, but just a patch of slightly less cover, a little glade. It doesn't appear to have noticed you, or if it's noticed you, it hasn't reacted to you. Are you going to do anything?
We can just skirt it, can't we?
Yeah, certainly, by all means. It's not immediately blocking your path. You said you could hunt it down if you wish to, but there doesn't seem to be any pressing need. Those of you, certainly. Sorry, I'm losing names again. Vero, certainly you will have breakfasted on the rations that you've brought with you this morning, and yeah, it was however, Alicio and Teodan, you again this morning when you went to eat, the food that you brought with you tasted vile. It's again, there's like ashes in your mouth, tastes maybe even rotten slightly. It's bad. So you're not starving, but you have not been able to eat this morning. But anyway, yes, if you carry on, the the path will continue. You go through these trees, and the again, it's you've got that kind of piney, resiny scent in the air. It's everything smells fresh, and the air's it's warm, but just that sort of warmth that's sort of almost refreshing as well. There's enough of a breeze coming between the trees. It's quite pleasant. You make good time through the forest.
I think what Elisio would certainly try is to find some local food and drink, like maybe some berries or water from a stream, and try if they taste better. Maybe it has to do with the place, or
certainly, yeah. No, absolutely. You can find. Oh no, we'll have you make a roll. Let's see how this goes. So yeah, do you think you have any skills appropriate for foraging for food?
I don't think so.
I'd say tracking probably counts. I think it's it's close enough. It's
you also skill curiosity, which can help find things.
Yeah. So yeah, you can roll one white dice for tracking, and again, I think the outcome of this seems fair. So you'll find enough food to satisfy your hunger for now. I think that's maybe a little to spare.
I could always try again with an added violet dice, right?
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. So. What do we think will happen if this roll fails? Vero, I'll go with you this time.
Well, I think he finds some berries, but unfortunately, they're the sort that are going to be making him very sick.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair. Sybil.
Oh, he's going to disturb whatever lives in that berry bush. Whatever animals or maybe like a hive of some kind of insects or something like that. Sure
thing. And Theoden, what do you think will happen if this roll fails?
I think they'll taste just as great as these apples, and he won't want to leave, right?
Yep, certainly. Yeah, he'll gorge himself on them. That's cool. I think that we sort of had this one before, but I think we'll go back to it. I think that somehow that Elisio will get separated from the rest of the group. If he fails, and we will go to the roll. So as I said, you'll be Devil's Bargain. Do I have anything interesting, or does anyone else think of something would make an interesting Devil's Bargain here?
I think that the one that Jim had mentioned would work as a Devil's Bargain. He finds the berries, but disturbs a swarm of bees or something or some denizen of the bush.
Certainly. I think that's cool. I think that would make a good Devil's Bargain. As I said again, Elisio, you are not required to accept it if you don't want to, but you can if you wish.
Yeah, so that would mean that an animal eating the berries, right? So you find the berries, but something's already eating them.
So, and with the Devil's Bargain, I would get to roll 2 white dice, right?
That's right. Yep.
All right, I'll do that then.
Cool.
I'll roll 2. So let's see, and I get 2 5s.
2 5s. So that will be a success with a complication. You could, if you wish to, add in a purple dice and re-roll all of them. But, it depends how lucky you're feeling. But otherwise, as I said, you will succeed in finding enough food with the 5. Just some you will suffer some complication as a result. So yeah, you you come across you find a little stream first. That's the first thing you find, and your water skin. You will have drunk some, and the water again tasted foul and stagnant. But you pour that out, fill your water skin from the stream, and the water is sweet and refreshing, and it tastes great. That's brilliant. So you will then carry on searching, and you find a berry bush. It's they're blackberries. We'll say they're a big blackberry bush, and it's absolutely like laden down with fruit, and the fruit is juicy and ripe, almost to the point of bursting, but not overripe. And it's you start eating these berries, and they are they're delicious. And even though it's just fruit, you can still sort of feel it filling you up, and you feel a lot better than you did this morning. You feel a lot more energized. But yes, you will be chased by a swarm of bees. They had a hive obviously near this bush. They must feed on the local flowers, and they chase you away from this bush. And I think in your haste to get away from them, you drop something. You drop something on the forest floor and do not realize. What is it that you dropped, and why was it important to you?
I think I drop. So I imagine my brother probably was the one who arranged this marriage that I'm going into, and now he's in prison. And I probably have some sort of document for him that I want to have him like immediately put his sigil on or whatever, so that the marriage can be so that everything will be in order once I get him out of prison. And probably this document that doesn't have like the sigil or the signature or whatever yet, I drop that or lose that, which was probably in a small like document roll or whatever box, and like leather pouch or whatever, and I lose that. Excellent.
That's perfect. Yeah, cool. And I think you're going to get stung a few times by the bees before you manage, you sort of get out of their territory essentially, and they come up in quite nasty welts on your skin. They're painful. They're painful, and yeah, it's not the greatest of times. Which reminds me, Theodan, you're still your clothes are still feeling heavy and itchy and uncomfortable against your skin, and you're maybe starting to get the beginnings of a rash there. So yes, but yeah, you can now fed and sated. You can carry on.
Is it changing my skin at all, or is it just like a normal rash?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't seem to actually be. It doesn't actually seem to. There doesn't seem to be anything unusual happening to your skin, other than the fact that it is like reacting as if you were kind of allergic to the fabric, or if it was just like really rough, itchy wool or something like that.
Tayden, you look uncomfortable. Did something get to you last night?
Suddenly, my clothes don't feel so good. I think I need to change into something else. Anyone bring spare clothes?
I have this large blanket that I had rolled up. Perhaps you can wrap yourself in that. That's more comfortable. It is soft.
Yeah, I don't know how well that'll work, though. I don't imagine that staying on very well. But thank you.
Cool.
I think I'll go and try to find some. Well, I'm skilled at crafting, so yeah, I'll go find some leaves or something and try to knit something together.
Yes, certainly. Certainly. I won't make you roll for that because it would be just a very similar sort of situation to the one we've just had. So yeah, I think you find. I think it's pretty much just that you find some. I think almost like some like big sheet of ivy growing down some trees, and you kind of fashion that into a loose tunic, we'll call it for sake of argument. And yeah, this feels, and it's funny because you wouldn't necessarily expect it to be the most comfortable thing, but this feels a lot better than your sort of itchy cotton robes.
Great. Yeah, I feel a lot better now. Thank you for the suggestion. All right.
Yeah, cool. So as you carry on, you will see the glade. Sorry, the path opens out into a glade. In fact, actually, before you get there, you'll hear ahead the sound of voices, sort of raised in jollity. They'll be singing, they'll be laughing. It sounds like there's a moderately sized group of people up ahead. As I said, chatting, laughing, singing, dancing. What do you want to do?
What are they singing? Listen to the song.
Yeah, so they're singing some songs you don't recognize, some you do. There's definitely some sort of like, folk song type things being sung, and some more elaborate songs in a language you don't really understand. Yeah. You will. It sounds. I mean, in terms of the thing, it sounds like quite cheerful singing. It doesn't sound like kind of ritual chanting or anything like that, which you're obviously familiar with.
Are these the bandits? I say to my friends.
Well, they said the bandits had their heads covered, right? So that's how we could tell.
Yes, perhaps someone should creep up to the edge of the clearing and see who it is that's actually singing this.
Or climb a tree.
Good point. And I'm actually quite a climber, I believe. Yes. I'll volunteer for that task.
Excellent. Yeah. So yeah, you have the climb skill, so you can easily climb up a tree, sort of at the edge of the glade, or just beyond the edge of the glade, so you can kind of look down through the branches. So, what do you think will happen if you succeed at this role, or what do you want to happen if you succeed at this role, I should say?
If I'm successful, I want to get a good look at who's singing and see what's going on and not be seen in return.
Brilliant. That's cool. We will go this time. We'll start with Theodan. What do you think will happen if Vero fails this role?
I think that we'll get the spirit of the trees again, getting upset with us. Like we killed one, now we're climbing on them again.
Yeah, that's fair. Sybil, what do you think will happen?
Oh, he will almost certainly set off whatever alarm they have set out around their camp to detect anyone that might be creeping up on them.
Excellent. Eliseo, how do you think this will go if it fails?
I think he'll be shocked or surprised by what he sees and fall down the tree.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I think. I mean, kind of similar. I think that
Lost your voice.
Have I? Is it back again? Yeah. So I
can hear.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, I think that if you, I think that if you fail, yeah, similar, you will be noticed and it will cause offense. As I said, you have the skill for this, so you'll be rolling at 1 white die. I think I am going to offer you the no, actually, because that would contradict your success. So, I think I will offer you the devil's bargain that climbing the tree, you will scratch yourselves against. There are some like creeping vines growing up it that have sort of briars on them, and you'll scratch yourself on those. If you climb up the tree. Again, you do not have to take the devil's bargain if you don't want to. It's not required. You also obviously you may add in a purple dice if you want to risk your body or mind on this. I'm not requiring you to on this one because I don't think it's. I think you can safely climb without any risk to yourself. But if you obviously want to go take a more dangerous route, then you can.
Okay, I think I'll take the purple die and pass on the devil's bargain.
Sure thing. Sure thing.
Oops. Well, one was a 4 and one teleported back. I don't know which of those it was.
Okay. If you just want to re-roll one of the purple ones and see what we get. Okay.
It's not registered. Did it appear to roll to you? I don't.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm showing at the minute on mine. The purple is a 5 and the white is a 4.
Okay. So
Yep.
So
success with a twist, and darkness climbs by 1.
yeah,
Or ruin climbs by 1.
yeah, certainly. So so yeah. So what will happen is you will, as I say, that there are these like I said, sort of viney climbing rose type things, and you will scratch yourself a few times on them, and the sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, so you'll catch yourself on it, and you will bleed just a few drops of blood, not much at all, just those few sort of pinprick wellings of blood that will spatter onto these creeping vines. You will see down into the glade, and there are people is perhaps almost too restrictive a word here. There are several, maybe a dozen or so people in this glade. A couple of them look similar to the tree person you saw earlier, the dryad. There are some there's a sort of man with goat legs and goat horns. There's a couple of men and women sort of draped in flowers, and these do seem to be creatures of the Fae for certainly all we've heard of them. And there is a huge table laid out with all sorts of food and drink, and the Fae folk are singing and dancing with each other. And as you're up the tree, you haven't been noticed, and you know that, but this is probably the most beautiful sight you've ever seen, and you said you have no fear really of being spotted at this point, because the people below are clearly in paying no mind to you, but just watching you're just transfixed for a while, and you'll just stay up in this tree watching them for a little bit. Also, what do you think where do you think is the grandest place that you've ever been before this?
Probably be like a cathedral, probably not the city we came from, but maybe there was a larger, a capital city not too terribly far away that I visited a couple of times, and it was an enormous, grand structure with stained glass, and it was a beautiful building.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, it was beautiful. It was fine, but it's nothing compared to this. The way the light comes down between the trees and reflects off of the flowers, and the beautiful people in it below. There are colors like you've not seen before, and the cathedral just sort of dims in your memory as just a sort of, a frippery next to this. This is true beauty. You know that this has a quality to it you have never seen in anything else before. And we'll go back to the rest of you. Yeah, so you will have obviously noticed Vero's made it up into the trees. He's looking down, and he doesn't seem to. There's certainly no sign that he's been spotted. There's no disturbance from the glade, but he's just up there and he's still watching, and he's not really paying any attention to you now. What do you do?
Cup my hands and whisper, "What do you see?"
Yeah, and there probably will be a little time when he doesn't really register.
If I'm allowed to respond, I'm not sure.
Yeah, you will be able to eventually. It'll probably take some calling out a couple of times before. Yeah.
Okay. Eventually, Vero gets around to just. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Is it the queen?
I'm not sure what the queen looks like, but it's certainly the sort of place where the queen would be. It's amazing. Oh my! I want to be there. I want to go to there.
And I grin, and I kind of hook my picnic basket under my arm, and I stride forward towards the party.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great. So you will enter the glade, and it's much has been described, and more really. They said there's these fair folk singing and dancing, and said this great table laid out with beautiful food. You'll also notice like hanging on the trees are paintings and portraits, and there's some like sculptures and even a stained glass window hanging from the branches of one tree. They will look human in make, and they're all exquisite works of art, and they're just like festooned around in these trees around the glade. And a figure, I mean, you know, I'll just come out and say, you know, sort of an elven figure will sort of come over. They have the long pointy ears and long flowing hair, and they're sort of garlanded in flowers. Pray, welcome to our revel. It is not often we see mortals venturing into our lands here. Please come, sit, join us, eat, drink, dance, sing.
Oh, I am not a mortal like the other mortals, but I fear I cannot partake of your meal, but I will dance. And I'm going to try to, and I'm going to kind of pass a hand down in front of me. And as I do, my like hair will change, and the little black pillbox hat that I wear will change to like, you know, my kind of red curly hair that comes out of that pillbox hat will be piled up on top of my head in like a, you know, like it will be like this high piled hairstyle that is held up by a couple of ribbons that like actually two little birds are kind of flitting around my head holding the ribbons up to keep my hair up and stuff like this. And, you know, and I get like this fade dress that looks like they do and stuff. So I'm going to glamour myself to look like I'm one of the revelers here.
Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, you will obviously you'll get a purple dice for using a ritual, and you as a witch you have the ritual skill, so you'll get a white dice as well. So so what do you want to achieve, but with your success here? What do you think you want to happen?
I want them to I want them to welcome me to the dance, and I want them to invite me to meet the queen.
Yep, that's perfect. That's perfect. So we'll go around quickly. So, Elisio, what do you think will happen on a failure?
That she was glamored herself. Oh wait, sorry, wrong person.
No, go ahead. That's fine. We can start there. We can start with yourself and then go the other way, or go in any order. So carry on.
Yeah, I think maybe these Fae are glamoring her too, right? And they look totally different.
Sure thing. Yeah. Cool. So, Vero, what do you think will happen on a failure?
Let's see. I think that that on a failure, she may have made some sort of faux pas. Like this might have been, maybe they've got very strict rules about magic and what's allowed, and displaying it in this way they may take offense with that.
Certainly. And Elisio, what do you think will happen on a failure?
I think she'll not be able to maintain this this ritual at this place. So all this beautiful attire will keep falling down and not really working.
Yep, perfect. I'm going to go the other way with my I think that on a failed roll, you will impress them so much that they will invite you to join them in their dancing for a time.
However long they are dancing. Yeah. What's my devil's bargain?
So yeah, I think for the devil's bargain, I will say that regardless of the outcome of this, there is we'll say, actually I like that. Yeah, we'll say actually there is a dryad who will become fascinated with you.
Infatuated.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can go wrong with that. So
exactly.
I totally take that. All right. So I'm rolling 2 light and a dark. There's a 6 on my light die.
Excellent. Perfect. So yes. So how does it look when you begin your dance?
Yeah, I think I do that thing and like I step in and there's some kind of formal like touch, bow, do a little pirouette, and it's one of these like minuets where you move around to a bunch of different partners. And when that dryad who looks like haughty and disinterested and like she couldn't care less about all of this, she comes around to me and suddenly like her like flowers start to bloom on her and stuff like that as she makes contact with me, and we kind of dance around, and like when the minuet comes to like pass us off, she like slaps away the hand of this fawn that's gonna take me up, and they're all so impressed that I have gotten through to her, that something about me has roused her, that they have to tell the queen about me.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and the elf who first greeted you, so a fine dance indeed. You have spoiled us with your gifts. You may, if you wish, stay with us a while, and all of you, and eat and drink with us. But of course, if you wish to see the queen, well, we could not stop you. They will make a gesture, and a couple of trees will literally draw back, revealing a path beyond. And they will say, you are welcome to journey on to meet the queen. I give one word of warning. or promise, I suppose. Take it as you will. You must cross the land of the Stag King to reach the Forest Queen's court. He will hunt you, but escape his clutches, and you will have access to the court, and the Dryad will sort of move forwards and say, "Of course, if you can capture the king himself, best him at his own game, he must grant you a wish. Remember this well." And
perhaps if you came with me, we could make that wish together, I say to her.
Of course, I will be happy to accompany you on this journey. And so they will usher you on. I'm going to I think we'll take another 5-minute break here now, and then we'll move on to the next bit. Bear in mind time, we've got a little bit more to get through still. So otherwise I would have reveled in the scene a little longer. But so if we want to take 5 minutes, that's cool. Let's see you back in 5.
So David, where's home to you?
I'm based in Sheffield, so well in the north, but about halfway up the country, more or less. Yeah, not from here originally, but I've lived here, you know, well, almost half my life now. So
Haven't been to England yet, but we went to Ireland a couple of years ago, and this September my wife and I are going to be visiting Scotland.
oh, nice, yeah. Yeah, I lived in Ireland for a little bit when I was very small, when I was about 3, 4. I lived over there for about 6 months because my dad was working out there. My granddad was from Belfast up in the north, so but yeah, I've not actually been to Scotland that much. I have been to Edinburgh and I've been to Glasgow, but only for fairly short trips on both occasions.
We're still in the planning stages, so I'm not sure where we're going to be, but we have time to decide.
Yeah. I do want to go and do some of the distilleries at some point.
My wife was very tolerant of my interest in visiting the distilleries when we were in Ireland. I'm not sure how that's going to hold out for the Scotland trip. We'll see.
Where in Britain are you, David?
Sheffield. So yeah, in Yorkshire. Yeah, kind of pretty much parallel with Manchester, but a bit further inland.
Oh yeah, that's way up there.
Yeah. Cool. Right. So yes, you will proceed through along this path, and it both the forest becomes a little wilder. There's still some it's quite dense trees still, but yeah, just everything's that little bit old, a little bit more gnarled. The trees now, the leaves actually seem to have taken sort of autumnal colours, and there's kind of the bracken around. And as you enter this part of the forest, you hear a loud booming voice call out, "Hold! Who dares step into my domain? Mortals, is it? Fine sport." And a tall, as in like 8, 9 foot tall man. He's gorgeous and muscular and entirely naked. He has the sort of his feet are hooves, or well, not hooves, deer feet anyway, stag feet, and he has the big, huge, impressive antlers coming out of the side of his head, and all around him are baying dogs and wolves and strange sort of goblin creatures and other fey beings. He will say, I have longed for some interesting sport for a while. Escape me, and you may proceed further into the forest. If I catch you, well, I'm sure I shall have some fun with you all. And he is going to take out a big curved ram's horn, and he blows into it with a sort of hunting horn call. So, what are you going to do?
I think first I'm going to make a ruin roll at the sound of that horn blasting out.
That is absolutely fair.
That seems like the kind of thing that would freak even me out.
Yeah, that's fair. It's there is something to it. It kind of triggers that primal fear at the back of your sort of lizard brain, or well, whatever passes for a
Well,
lizard brain
whatever spark of magic that gives me life, wants to keep me alive, and hearing that it's under threat. But whether it's just because I'm far enough removed from being mortal, or because I have this dryad next to me, I rolled a 3 under 4, so I'm going to hold it together.
That's cool. Also, what I'm going to say with the dryad is, well, once for free, and further ones may require some finagling. You can essentially get her to help you to do something. You will count as being skilled in whatever it is you're doing, but obviously you will roll a ruin dice because she is of the forest. Yeah, so the rest of you, how are you reacting? What are you doing? The hunt is clearly preparing to give chase. Lingering too long is probably not a good idea.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, one thing I will also just say is for rules purposes, the Stag King himself and his wild hunt are a monstrosity. What this means is, if you just try and fight them head on, you will die. There is no question about it. No dice are rolled. You cannot fight them head on. If obviously you want to come up with a cunning ploy to either escaping them, whatever is fine. If you do want to come up with a cunning ploy to try and beat him at his own game, then feel free to suggest it, and we will see how that goes.
I was going to say, Vero is very uncomfortable with the idea of being hunted, and probably should also have to make a ruin roll. But what he's going to be doing is just as soon as that's announced and the horn is blown, he's going to run away in the direction that we're supposed to be heading. So
certainly.
Hopefully he doesn't have to be necessarily faster than the king, but just faster than the rest of the group.
Indeed. So do you think you have a skill that's applicable to this, to your flight?
Goodness, climbing, alertness, and beasts.
That sounds like alertness to me.
I was going to say, I think
if you're off like a rocket as soon as you realize there's a threat, then yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
I was going to say I'd probably have accepted beasts as well, because essentially that's what you're being hunted by. So yeah, but yes, alertness certainly works. Well, given the situation, you are absolutely risking your body and or mind, because being caught by the forest, the Stag King, probably isn't a good idea. Well, I'm assuming basically you want to be able to successfully escape him and reach the realm of the queen. Does that sound fair?
That's the goal.
Yep. Cool. Alicio, what do you think will happen if this roll fails?
I think the king's dogs will get him very, very easily, or the hunting animals, or whatever he uses.
Yep, perfect. Sybil.
Oh, he's just gonna get lost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like fleeing, turned around through the brush, tall trees, and end up no idea where he is.
Certainly. And Teodan.
I think there's going to be another river, right, that he can't cross. He can't just run across a river.
Sure thing. Yeah, and I think that the Forest King the Stag King himself will capture you and bend you to his will. So Devil's Bargain. I think actually this is going to be a fairly, well, I say fairly simple. I think that you can the realm of the realm of the Forest Queen is calling out to you. It wants you to go there, and I think if you accept, if you sort of essentially accept the call of the court, you will be able to roll with the extra dice. This will essentially gain you a point of ruin, straight up. So yeah,
You're muted. I can't hear you.
Has it gone?
Yeah, I got a
Cool.
6 on one of the white die.
Perfect. Yeah, that's brilliant. So yeah, how does this look? I don't need any input on this. So how does this look as you run through the forest?
As the group is sort of standing there and contemplating what to do, and the immense horn comes up to his lips and blaze out this loud rumbling sound. I had, as soon as he mentioned the hunt, I'd already decided what I was going to do. So I take off like a dart down the road, and as you said, I hear the call sort of within me to my goal, the Forest Queen, and I just disappear in a cloud of dust as I run down the path, and just like I said, just hoping I'm getting enough of a lead to where I'm going to be safe.
Excellent. Yeah, you managed to sort of break, and you again the landscape shifts, and you can kind of intuitively tell that you're outside of the domain of the Stag King when you come to a stop. And it's fine, and you safe is probably not the wrong word, but you can tell that you're no longer being hunted. You can sort of feel it. The other thing, that like a moment of pain, and a couple of trickles of blood just run down your temples, and as you reach up, your hair has been matted with a little blood, and you can just feel two soft, furry bumps protruding from the sides of your skull.
That's shocking. Okay. All right. Well, he's frightened and just runs and runs and runs.
Excellent. So, Alicio, we'll go to you. How are you reacting as the hunt begins?
I'm actually turning towards the king, saying, "Might I suggest that Your Excellency give us a little head start? This is supposed to be a hunt, right? We're supposed to be hunted, so otherwise, I guess your animals would strike me down right here. I mean, it wouldn't be much of a hunt then, right? So could I maybe get just a little head start?"
Excellent. Yes. So you can roll. So we'll obviously we'll get your. So I'm assuming this is Well, I mean, in fairness, I would say that either charm or innocence could probably
It's probably a
count for that
combination
one.
of both.
Yeah. So you get your 1 white dice. Once again, you will be rolling with a purple dice in this because yeah, you know, you're in very real risk threat here to mind, body, and soul. I'm not going to poll everyone again because actually this is significant. We'll do a very quick one here. So Vero, what do you think will happen on a failed roll?
I think he would be offended by the question and make an example of him.
Fair. Sybil.
He will agree and give him the head start, but that means that he will be like the sole focus of the hunt.
Yep, sure thing. And Teodan.
I think that since he stopped to talk, the stag will try to like mesmerize him.
Nice. Yeah, so I think that we will yeah, I think that what will happen is that he will, similar to the other, he will have no time for your insolence, and he will turn you into one of his hunting beasts. Yeah, and I think actually what I am going to do here is I'm going to offer you the devil's bargain, to riff off of what Jim said, that regardless of how this comes, you will have absolutely captured his attention, and he will be focusing on you.
That's fine. I'll take that.
Yep, perfect. So, yep, you'll be rolling 2 white and a purple. Yep, go ahead.
So this is a 6 on a white, on one of the white dice.
Yep.
So goes fine, I think.
Yep, certainly. So, yeah, you persuade him to give you a head start, and I think what you know, he's going to well, a brave little thing, aren't you? Foolish perhaps, but certainly brave. Seems your companion took the initiative already, but I shall do as you say. I shall give you to a count of 100 to get away, and then I will come for you. You entertain me. If I catch you, I will make you mine and keep you for as long as I desire. Now, run. So, bearing in mind the time, I think what I'm going to say here is you will get away. I won't make you make another roll for. I won't make you roll again to run away. I think that's fine. We'll assume you get away safely. And thanks to the distraction that the Stag King's focus has brought, if all that Sybil and Tirdan want to do is escape, then you can also do so. I won't make you roll for that. If you want to do anything else, then obviously we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think we just want to escape.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'm skilled in following, so I'll just follow everyone else.
Yeah, that's perfect. So yeah.
Enjoy the hunt, chump.
You will reach you'll catch up sort of with names Vero. And as I say, it's the sort of wild and autumnal forest kind of gives way to again the sort of pale sort of deciduous trees with the sort of sun shining down through them, through the light green leaves. And again, it's warm but pleasant. You come out into another big opening, and you see in front of you a lake, a crystal clear lake. And rising from the center of the lake is a castle, and it is, one of those proper, Walt Disney, Bavarian castle that's got all the sort of minarets and thin spires and all of that coming out of it. But it's crafted entirely from ice. Which, despite the fact that it's quite pleasant and temperate here, that the ice does not seem to be melting in the slightest, and the sunlight glitters off of it like diamonds. And obviously, this is the court of the Forest Queen. There are no guards outside the castle. There are no need for them, and you're able to proceed inside. The furnishings inside are lavish, and everything is bedecked in gilt and gems and beautiful things everywhere. As you enter the court, it's similar to. It's similar in the sense that there are the mix of fae folk that you encountered earlier inside. They are lazing around on silken cushions and feeding each other grapes and all that sort of thing, and sat in a great wooden throne is a woman, again, tall, very thin. She is absolutely beautiful. You have not seen anyone look like her before. Her hair is silvery and reflects the candlelight. She is dressed in again, actually not dissimilar to she's sort of just leaves strewn down her. They are mostly green, glossy green leaves, but just with some sort of highlighting of autumnal colors in there. And her eyes seem to sort of stare through you all. Say, "Greetings, mortals, and welcome to my court. Please, you are welcome here as guests. But tell me, of your travels here. I long to hear of them. Impress me, and perhaps I might have gifts for you." And she will lean back in her throne and wave, and there will be activity around, and some sort of seating cushions will be placed on the floor in front of the steps leading to her throne, and refreshments and the like will be brought out by some young fawns.
At that, Vero steps forward and kneels down. Yes, Your Majesty, thank you. Our journey here has been long and arduous, and early on this trip, we encountered a poor goat herd that had lost his goats, and we assisted him with getting those back to him. And that was a key moment of this journey where we came together as a group and realized the strengths of one another and what good we could do. And I hope that this informs you as to what sort of good individuals we are.
Ah, yes. I believe I have heard of this. What is it you call it? Altruism, I believe. How lovely. But tell me, which of you was responsible for recovering these goats? You say you worked as a team, of course, but surely one of you held more sway in this matter than the others. Tell me, which of you was it?
Vero sort of nervously looks back and forth. Well, I have some experience as a goat herd myself, and I felt it an obligation to help the boy. I made a promise to him that we would return his goats.
Ah, promise is a powerful thing.
I did warn him that perhaps the goats had been claimed by you, Your Majesty, but he didn't heed my words.
That was most considerate of you. Most considerate. You are an intriguing thing, aren't you? Oh, yes. A perfect little toy. I could perhaps find a place to keep you, little one. Would you like that?
No, I don't wish to stay here. I've come here to give you whatever you want that I can give you, but not myself.
Well,
There is a villa in the Rose District of Amberay. There are terraces there. The trellises grow roses of every color of the rainbow. If I lived there, perhaps I might. I see them, and I see the colors. And the other mortals tell me that they smell beautiful, but I don't know what that means.
Well, my little one, you say you do not wish to give yourself to me, and yet, what greater gift can anyone give but themselves? And surely, I am deserving of only the greatest gifts. You would not begrudge me one little thing, would you?
I would begrudge you all I have. You would not do the same. You have not given all of yourself to your husband.
That is perhaps true, but I am the queen of the forest, and you are a little puppet.
I'm a little puppet that has found my way here to you.
You have. Oh, you have. But you are here at my pleasure. I tire of you. You. I see you have gone native. Oh, yes, I can smell it on you. You. And she's addressing Theoden at this point. You do truly belong here among my court.
Oh, thank you, Queen. I came seeking something of you also, though. Cure for my mother is ailing.
How sad. So, you wish to see your mother well again?
Of course.
I suppose a laudable aim, if a little trite. And you? Oh dear. Oh, you're going to be a bit more of a problem, aren't you? As she looks at Elysia. I can smell my husband upon you. But perhaps we might still come to an accord. Tell me, what do you seek of me? What do you have to offer in return?
I have to offer little and seek freedom for my brother who is imprisoned at Barsul.
Oh, mortal law, how very, very dull, very dull. I wonder at the quality of my servants, that you all were able to reach me through them. A sad state of affairs. Tell me, old man, for what do you seek? What would you have of me?
I seek the respect of the local governor, and I think merely being able to return to him and describe him the beauty that I saw here will earn me that respect. So merely allowing me safe passage back, I think, will be sufficient.
I see. How very droll. Well, it seems two of you seek only freedom from my presence. A fact I could take to be something of an insult, frankly. And two of you wish to save family. How very noble. So I suppose the only question I have to ask is, which one of you should I grant their wish? Which of you is the most deserving? Believe me, of course, you shall all be rewarded for the efforts you have made in reaching me. I am not one to so casually throw away interesting people. No. You will all be rewarded, of course, but I can only grant one of you their true heart's desire. So who shall it be?
Your Majesty, it seems it would be presumptuous for us to make such an important decision. I hesitate to to answer in your stead. I think this is ultimately your decision, and I wouldn't want to make the mistake of making this decision for you.
You have manners, old man. That is a thing so easily forgotten by some. But, well, manners alone are not enough. I need convincing of your worth. What can you show me that proves me that you are worthy of my gift? Oh, what can any of you show me?
You say those who led us here have failed you. They've angered you?
Disappointed, not angry.
We cannot have you disappointed, Your Majesty.
No, we cannot.
And I turn and take like a couple of steps back from the dryad that led me here. And I kind of like and I drop to one knee and I kind of like put my fingers onto the surface of the ice. And I'm going to summon up a swarm that is just going to engulf her and like, you know, like stinging insects, centipedes biting, you know, stinging wasps and stuff, and just you know, just strip her to the bone.
Excellent. Yes. So make me a. We'll obviously you'll get your white dice and your purple for enacting a ritual. I kind of feel we're probably beyond the point of devil's bargains here. So yeah, I think we'll just keeping an eye on the time. I think we'll just go with you rolling if that's okay, and rather than doing the full poll.
Yeah, that's legit. I'll let me see what I get. I got a 2 and a 1, but the 2 is the highest die, so I'm going to add another danger die here.
Certainly.
Sorry, the 2 is white, so
yeah.
So I'm trying to summon my swarm here. Oh, so is on a tie? Can I add another die? How does that work?
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, the rules
it specifically calls it. It specifically calls it out as being
the highest.
The highest.
We always play. You can add another and roll on the highest because that just makes it more interesting. So.
Exactly. No, I'm happy to go with that.
And there's a 4 on my white die.
Cool. So yes, this swarm of stinging and insects and termites burrow into her flesh, woody flesh, and there, for a moment, she is entirely engulfed by these insects, and then they kind of fade back away, and there's just like a pile of sawdust on the floor.
Oh, that's right, because she's made out of wood. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And the queen will lean forward and say, yes. Now that is more like it. That is entertainment. Learn from her example, my little mortals. Oh, yes. I like your style a lot. You will have to do well, children, if you are to beat the little puppet. And she is going to she reaches down and she actually pulls, there's some sort of flowers woven into the dress that she's wearing. She pulls them out as a bouquet and throws them to to Sybil. As you catch them, they actually turn into ice, and it essentially locks you from your lower half to the floor, freezes you in place. And I said, well, the little puppet has shown her trick. Who is next? Who can outdo her performance?
It's getting dark, but I think it's supposed to. As that's happening, what I'm going to do is step behind Sybil, and with my large staff, just reach up high and then bring it down right atop Sybil's head.
Perfect. Yep, you're certainly playing to your audience here.
I don't have any weapon skills that I can see, so I'm going to try to take a devil's bargain to get at least one white die, and then obviously a black I'll throw in as well.
Yep, certainly. Yeah, I think actually what I'm going to say is the devil's bargain I'm going to offer is that you can do this, but while Sybil is currently being prevented from moving, she's not prevented from speaking. So if Sybil wants to come up with a suitable curse to levy as you're doing this, then that would be cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I can, I mean, if I have time, I'm gonna glamour myself to look like the governor.
Nice.
So that he brings the staff up, and then I look like the governor, and then he's got to smash the governor.
Perfect.
So how should we handle that?
Yeah. So that's cool. I think that might be a separate ruin roll as well. Once the
that's pretty much what I was going for. So
yeah, exactly. So it'll probably be a ruin roll first before you make the skill check. So if you want to do that now, I think if you're okay with this as well, Jim, I think we'll say if he gets a clear success, that's probably Sybil's head smashed open.
Sybil done for, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're down the end here. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so one white and one purple.
Yeah, actually, if you can just roll me,
brother.
Start me with just one purple first, and then
okay.
It'll be one white and one purple.
That's a 4, which increases my ruin by 1.
Excellent. Yeah. And so those little horn nubbins sticking out of the side of your head grow and start forming into full antlers as you bring the staff down towards down towards the governor's head.
The governor's head.
And and then you can roll your actual skill. So one purple and one white.
Apologies.
We're, like I said, we're right at the end, so it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well. Okay. So
you can add a purple and re-roll to that because the white is just higher.
That's what the rule is. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh,
excellent. So
and I think that raises my ruined by yet another.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
So, as you bring the staff down, it shatters Sybil's head, and the horns, as I say, they properly grow out fully now. Sorry, and you feel your feet turning into hooves, and having hit 5 ruin, you would now be able to start clearing your ruin by doing the bidding of the forest. I think what this is likely going to result in is Vera becoming a permanent denizen of the fairy court. So I will move on. Elisio, what do you want to be doing at this point?
I think Elisio's, as he's watching all this unfold, will probably give a little speech and say something to the effect of, when I came here, I expected the exuberance and grace of a queen's court, but this is not what I came here for, and I don't think that you have any gift that I would accept. I prefer to be hunted by your barbaric husband at this point. So I would take my leave now, Queen. Please excuse me. And he will turn around and walk out of the hall.
And as he's leaving, you will hear her voice come after him and say, "Oh, believe me, young man, that wish I am more than happy to grant." And she clicks her fingers, and you will find yourself back in the Stag King's lands. And Theodan, how are you reacting to all of this?
Well, I feel like I'm the only one who does have a weapon, so I might as well use yeah, so I guess I'll go after Vera with my axe.
Perfect. Yeah. Yep. You will again. You have a point in the skill. You again will be risking. You will be risking. What's the word I'm looking for? Body and mind here. So you will be rolling with a purple. So, Vero, do you want to offer a devil's bargain here?
Let's see. So, regardless, success or failure. Interesting. Well, that might be too harsh.
Harsh is good.
Well, it kind of can't. Okay. Well, I guess what I need to hear is what the goal is. What they're trying to accomplish.
I'm trying to get the queen's favor.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. That's fair. That's fair.
Okay. Yeah. Because what I was going to say was that their action offended the queen in some way, but no, that's the goal. So what could you do there? Also, yeah, I don't have a good one. Sorry, I'm blanking.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Here's a devil's bargain. That swing breaks the axe whether it connects or not. Like he gets one swing at it. He can swing so hard that he knows whether it connects or not. Like this is his one swing, or he can like not swing as hard but hang on to his axe. That's the devil's bargain I would offer here.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good to me. So yeah, do you wish to accept that, Tierdan?
So if I break the axe, does that ruin my plan? Like that
Oh no,
doesn't sound like a
Yeah,
success anymore.
it will basically you can still either succeed or fail, but regardless of whether you succeed or fail, the axe will be broken. So it'll either be it will either snap off in him or on the ground, essentially. So yeah, it won't
All
interfere
right,
with you
I'll take
succeeding.
that. That's 2 dice.
So yeah, 2 white and 1 purple. You'll be rolling.
So I got 2 6s, 1 purple, 1 white.
Excellent. So you will gain a point of ruin,
Great.
which will take you up to 5. Excellent. So
Does this count as reduction roll because I'm attacking one of my?
so technically, yeah, but the point we're at, it's not really relevant at this point. So, you swing the axe, and it lodges into Vero's chest. It drops to the ground, and the head of the axe breaks off. The shaft snaps, and as this happens, it's funny actually, because what happens is the shaft of the axe splinters, and the splinters fly into you, and you can feel them stinging, almost like insects, as the splinters bury into your skin, and they start to grow over your skin, and your skin starts to take on a woody appearance. And the queen will say, "Oh, thank you, my pet. I was down one dryad. I suppose nature has a way of balancing these things out. But I am a queen of my word." And she will gesture down at the sort of a pool of water surrounding sort of the sides and the back of her throne. And in the reflected water, in the reflection in the water, you will see an image of your mother, and she sort of gets out of bed, and you can see that she's looking a lot more. The colors return to her cheeks. She straightens up. The crook in her spine has gone, and you can tell. You know from looking that she's healthy. And she says, "Your mother will prosper for those few years she has left. But you need never worry about facing a similar fate. You will remain here with me in my court, and I will care for you forever." And that's where we'll end it. So thanks very much, everyone. I know we ended up running quite long there. Apologies for the internet kerfuffle at the beginning. That wasn't helpful. But I hope everyone enjoyed it. I'm going to stop the broadcast now. So thank you, anyone who is watching.